All right, I'll start the recording right now. It's recording.
All right, then I will call the meeting of the Conservation Commission for October 6th open. And I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our September 15th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. On our agenda, we have 3 new public hearings. First on the agenda is 75 South Street for a general stormwater permit. And I will read that into the record.
And Mr. Chairman, this should be fairly quick, but we have representatives from Keolis that have another meeting to be at.
Okay.
So I think we could do 75 South Street real quick, but if you think it might take a little bit longer, maybe we could put Keolis first.
I don't have a problem with that. Anybody else mind switching them up?
Go ahead.
All right. That being said, then we will do the MBTA Keolis computer first. And I will read that into the record. Under the Wetland Protection Act, Chapter 131, Section 40 of Mass General Law is amended in the West Bridgewater Wetland Protection Bylaw Rules and Regulations. The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing through remote participation on October 6, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. for the request of determination of applicability by Keolis Commuter Services to renew the 5-year vegetation management plan along the MBTA right-of-way in West Bridgewater. And we are open.
Yes, good evening. My name is Clary Coutu, and for the record, I'm representing Keolis Commuter Services, and with me tonight is going to be Matt Donovan. He's going to present to you the maps. We have an RDA before you to review the boundaries as within your jurisdiction, within your town jurisdiction, in compliance with the 3.3 CMR 11 and the VMP that's going to be that's under approval right now for years 2021 through 2025. So I'll let Matt do the presentation, and then I'll make myself available for questions.
And Matt, I've allowed sharing of the screen so you can call up your exhibits.
Great, thank you. I just saw that. Yes, everyone, this is Matt Donovan from FDC Engineers representing Keolis, and I will share my screen. So I just wanted to point out that we do have a vegetation management website for Keolis Commuter Services, all the towns that the railroad runs through. You see their maps here, as well as the vegetation management plan, which is a 5-year plan that is currently under review by the Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources, and the yearly operational plans. The link for this was included in the submission, and it's constantly updated and easy to navigate for anyone who wants to stay updated on the vegetation management activities. This is a handy tool, although we will continue to send it via certified mail to your commission as required. So I did pull up your map right here. The RDA was submitted to your commission, required by CMR 11, as well as specific sections of CMR 10, which require us to submit these maps to confirm that the boundaries of the resource areas are accurate. The requirements are part of a 5-year vegetation management plan, which is designed to manage and control vegetation necessary to keep the railroad and public safe. As the plan is executed, great measures are taken to keep the sensitive areas protected, and the sensitive area restrictions are listed and described in detail, which can be found in CMR 11.04 as well as Section 8 of our vegetation management plan. The plan is regulated on federal, state, and municipal levels, and as part of the 5-year plan, your commission, the Board of Health, and the Board of Selectmen and the Department of Agricultural Resources are supplied annually with the yearly operational plan, which is always consistent with the 5-year vegetation management plan and goes into a little more detail regarding the vegetation management activities for each year throughout the 5-year program. You should have received that in certified mail earlier this year, at the beginning of the year, as you will continue to do so in the future. The vegetation management plan includes an integrated vegetation management approach where chemical application as well as physical and mechanical methods are used to combat the vegetation. Best management practices are implemented throughout this plan in an effort to limit the use of chemical application, which has been an objective of Keolis. The maps we provided you with are mainly made for the chemical portion of the plan. They were made with USGS and MassGIS layers to determine the boundaries of the sensitive and protected areas. And we also get a list of all private wells along the railroad from the Department of Agricultural Resources. The maps don't change often because these sensitive and protected areas don't change often, but they are updated and checked to see if there are any changes, but I can confirm that no changes to this town specific maps have been changed since the 2016 determination that your commission issued. So as you can see on the maps, there are areas that are depicted as limited spray zones and no spray zones based on the blue and the yellow colors. So in the field on the railroad tracks themselves, they're marked with the same color coded system shown on the maps, and the markings in the field correspond to these same locations that you see. As the spray truck performs the application, just to note, the spray truck applicator is certified and licensed to do the work in the state of Massachusetts. So the spray truck performs the application. There's an environmental monitor who is a direct employee of Keolis's environmental team in the truck with the applicator, instructing and working with the operator as necessary. The environmental monitor will always have these maps in hand, so they're on the lookout for the markings in the field to depict where these protected areas are. Most importantly, the yellow zones will never receive any form of herbicide outside of the track structure itself, which is federally mandated to keep free of vegetation. In the blue zones, whether it's a 1 or 2 year limited spray zone, they will never be sprayed more than what is allowed, whether it's 1 or 2 years, depending on the darker or light blue. And in these areas, they're really only sprayed on an as needed basis outside of the track structure. There's an effort to treat this in these yellow and blue zones. More of an effort is taken with physical and mechanical measures because of the nature of these areas, to limit the chemical use in these areas. The chemicals that are used are all from the approved sensitive area material list that the Mass Department of Agricultural Resources provide. The details for these chemicals can be found on their website, as well as our vegetation management plan. And sometimes they do get rotated, always within that approved list. But because vegetation will sometimes build a tolerance to some of these chemicals, its best management practices are to rotate them. And that will all be included in the yearly operational plans, where we will tell you what we plan to use each year. So I think that is a good overview of the process of how this works. And I can open the floor up to you guys if you have any questions.
I just want to mention to everybody that if you are muted and you want to talk, you can just hold down the space bar and that unmute you until you let it go. So I just wanted to let you know that way it might be easier than me trying to keep clicking people on their mute and unmute button.
Yeah, and one more thing I did mean to mention is, like I did say earlier, the maps haven't changed since your 2016 determination. And just for some background information, I looked back at that, and in 2016, you guys issued a +2 determination as well as a -3. So I just wanted to mention that to you guys too.
I don't have any questions, John.
Anybody else, any questions, comments?
No.
All right. Then hearing none, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Tim,
John, then Your recommendation,
I'm giving a recommendation of issuing a -3. And we aren't going to necessarily approve the wetland flagging line as shown on this plan because it's very ambiguous to start with. But within the framework of what's being presented, I recommend issuing a -3 on this project.
all right. I will entertain a motion to issue a -3.
Motion to issue the -3.
second,
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Now you guys can get to your next meeting.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much. Have a good evening.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. You too.
Thanks, everyone. I'll get you your screen back now. Let me, yep, you should have it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Okay, John, now we can bring up 75 South Street. And I'll read that into the record. Under the West Bridgewater Comprehensive Stormwater Management Regulations, the West Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing through remote participation on the 6th of October 2020 for a general stormwater management permit requested by Mark Camus to review his proposed construction for a single-family home at 75 South Street. So we are open.
Tim, I'm going to present the site plan, and you just have to bear with me for a second because I tried something new tonight where I wouldn't have all of the plans up on my screen, hoping that it would keep me from losing my internet connection. And already I lost it once, so I guess that probably isn't the problem, but hold on for a second.
Okay.
Okay, I've brought the plan up if everybody can see it. Now, Mark, if you'll push the space button, you can talk about your plan and what you plan to do.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Kamal, and I'm building the houses over at South Street. And my proposal here is to construct this house as seen on the plan and, maintain all of my siltation fencing and whatnot and maintain it on a daily basis because I'm there on a daily basis. And also I'll be installing the roof gutter drains as shown on the plan as well. And that's my plan.
How much more fill would be coming in than what's already stockpiled there? Or is that pretty much?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
right. Anybody have any other questions?
no, I don't,
Go ahead. Did you have one, Steve?
no,
No, I don't either. It looks
Okay, pretty
looks fine
straightforward
to
on
me.
this one.
Yeah, exactly.
So, if I might just add that
Yep.
this one was heard as a, excuse me, as a notice of intent, because we have the conservation 50-foot buffer encroaching into the lot. So all of that was handled through the wetland process, but we're now just doing the stormwater because at that time we didn't do stormwater at the same time. And what I want to mention to Mark is that the requirement that we'll issue, if we vote to issue a permit tonight, this has to be observed by me as the conservation agent so that I know that it was put in according to the plan. So I need to be notified about that. And there'll be a couple other conditions of approval. So if you have any questions when you do get it, you can come to me and ask them, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. So I recommend approving this under our stormwater permit approval process.
Okay, I only do have one question, and it really doesn't regard this lot. And I'm not sure whether anything can be done if the first lot that you developed has been sold already and changed hands, or whether you're still in control of it. But I'm the one that put the orange flagging up.
Yes,
The entranceway, it looks like, into the
Yes,
field, which is the wetland
yes.
spot.
Yes.
I don't know if there's any way to put some boulders or markers or something
I
to
will
keep
do-
people from driving in and out of it.
I will do that. It's funny. I saw your ribbon the other day, and we had some issues, some kids using the back of the Hardy. We found empty beer cans and whatnot, so we cleaned it up, obviously. And then I went down there and did some recon trying to catch them in the act, but I was unable to.
Yep. It's a nice muddy area that I'm sure they like to play in, so.
Well, in the wintertime, I don't know, the neighbors were out there in quads too, so
Yeah.
I was able to put a stop to that as well.
All right, that was my only concern that I saw, was that little opening is gonna be a potential for somebody to keep coming in and out, but otherwise, I have no problems with this.
So have we settled on what we're going to block it with?
I can put some rocks there, decent sized rocks.
Okay.
Perfect. All right.
I can
As
crawl
far
the,
as-
I can work the skid steer out around and, just zip over there and put it out. I'll access it from the street. I'm sure it wouldn't be a problem if I did it just for a minute.
All right. Otherwise, I have no problems with 75 South Street. If nobody else does, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close.
second,
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
aye,
Aye.
So moved. I will entertain a motion to issue a general stormwater permit.
I'll make that motion.
oh, second,
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Next, John, I think we have 12 Stony Road. And I will read that into the record. Under the Wetland Protection Act, Chapter 131, Section 40 of Mass General Law is amended, and the West Bridgewater Wetland Protection Bylaw rules and regulations. The West Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing through remote participation on October 6th, 2020, by notice of intent filed by Collins Civil Engineering Group on behalf of Glenn Turner to construct an in-ground pool in the vicinity of a wetland resource at 12 Stony Road. And we are open.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Dave Klenner. I'm representing Glenn Turner at 12 Stony Road for the construction of the pool under Collins Civil Engineering Group. I'd first like to start off with making sure that Mr. Delano has a copy of the DEP file number. We just received it today, and I think we get one over to you. So
Yeah, we have it.
yeah, so we have that. And if you can share this with me, I have a photo of the proposed drawing I can bring up.
I believe the sharing is available for you.
Okay. Does everybody see the screen?
Yep, we got it.
Okay, so This work is going to happen between the 50 and the 100-foot buffer. We have the wetland line delineated by Brook Monroe in green, the 50-foot buffer and the orange, and the 100-foot buffer and the red or purple. The outline of the property is in yellow. We did put a section down here showing the complete property. It's very long rectangular property. The pool area is going directly behind the house. There will be a silt fence. It's right along here, starts at the house, moves down to the 50-foot, outside the 50-foot buffer. All the work will be done outside the 50, and it moves around the area of construction and back up along the southerly property line. There is a tracking pad provided here for construction entrance and exits. This tracking pad will help prevent a lot of the dirt coming out onto the driveway as well as Stony Road. We did provide the amount of area that is to be impacted within the 50-foot buffer. It's already developed area, but the amount of area that we will be working in is approximately lot disturbance of 9,000 square feet, and within the 100, it's 4,000 square feet within the 100-foot buffer. This pool will be, it will have the filters on it, so there'll be no backwashing whatsoever. These filters they're changeable. They get dirty, you change them out. So there's no backwash into the wetlands or into the 50-foot buffer. There will be a fence or a retaining wall here. We're going to remove some of this stone retaining wall along the property and build it around the pool. The retaining wall is going to be at its highest, just under 4 feet. There is a stone wall that cuts through the property, and we provide a conservation post along this stone wall. And that is pretty much what I have.
This area is all previously disturbed, all lawn area already?
Yes, it
Okay.
is. Yeah.
Dave, can you explain to Chairman Hay where the lawn is on the site?
The lawn itself?
Yes.
Well, we don't show a wood line, and I believe that the stone wall is or maybe just beyond the stone wall is the.
I can chime in if you'd like.
Yes. Why don't you?
You guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so right along where he's talking about that stone wall which crosses the property, the property lawn goes right to that stone wall. So the entire back portion of this property is all lawn.
And it's currently fenced in, is it already?
No, there's currently no fencing.
No fencing at all? Okay.
So I'm a
Anybody
little
else have any
confused.
questions?
Yeah, I mean, could you explain
Yeah.
those markers along the wall versus the 50-foot line? Why they would be there instead of on the 50? Because the orange line, I believe, is the 50. Is that right?
The orange line is the 50.
And yet the markers are along that stone wall. Is that because it's?
The existing disturbance, grass, lawn, yard goes right up to the stone wall as is.
Okay.
How old's the house? Roughly
94.
94. Okay.
So just for general discussion, when we talk about previously disturbed, is there a time limit? In other words, if a house was built 2 years ago, would that be considered previously disturbed?
Well, if we had granted them the right to go in the 50-foot,
Right.
I don't think there's any commissioners that are here that were here in 94 when this permit was issued. I can't
Right.
imagine that if we were all sitting there in 94, we would have allowed them to go into that 50-foot and make that much area lawn.
Right,
not
right,
nowadays.
right.
So
Okay.
that's kind of where we're stuck with this one at this point.
In other words, the permits have been issued and it is what it is right now.
Right. And I mean, looking at it, they are willing to kind of flop on the other side of the property and put markers so that they don't encroach into the 100-foot on the other side of the stone wall.
Yeah, I see it.
So they
Okay.
have offered a little give and take.
Yes, yes.
So
All right.
Dave Clenart, can you kind of use your mouse to show the commission what they were just talking about?
Yeah, this conservation post here, conservation posts are within the 50. This one's almost right on the 50-foot line. So that's what they're talking about. This is the line where it's undisturbed on the, I guess you would say, the west area, and it's previously disturbed on the east.
So in effect, it seems as if the plan is to protect almost all the way out to the 100 by following the wall on the bottom of the plan or the south side of the plan, and continue the use of the lawn area to the north of that, up along and into the 50-foot buffer. But in effect, you do save a whole bunch of land that's upslope from the 50-foot buffer, as long as that would never get disturbed. I think it's a fair trade-off.
Yep, I could go with that.
How about you, Mr. Turner? How do you feel about that?
I'm fine with that. That's kind of why we push the pool south direction to keep as far away from that 50 as we possibly could.
Okay, anybody have any other questions or comments?
I recommend, in that case, approving the plan as shown.
All right. Then I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And I will entertain a motion to issue a standard order of conditions for the installation of a pool at 12 Stony Road.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You
You
too.
too.
Thanks. All right. John, I think we have a continued public hearing for 400 Manley Street.
Yeah, David, are you still online here?
I'm still on, yeah,
Yeah, can you close out your screen?
sure.
Thanks.
Yep. Let me close
All
that.
right, we have, is that your phone, David, or is that somebody else's phone? Well, he's gone. I don't know who 781-563-0948 is.
Yes, that was mine.
Hello, whoever's on 781-563-0948, are you a part of the hearings tonight? Okay. No comment. So, all right. We need to bring up the plan for 400 Manley Street? We didn't receive anything for revisions or anything, so we can either decide to continue it or close it for good and do it without prejudice.
So I'm very excited, and I can't.
I can call it up. I have it on my files.
Anybody have a preference? I don't think we need to bring it up. Have they requested anything, John, as far as extensions or just?
Haven't heard anything. I sent an email after the last meeting saying that that would be the final time that we'd hear it and wouldn't continue it after that. So they know that we were going to close the hearing, deny it without prejudice.
All right. Anybody have any comments?
No.
No.
All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing for 400 Manley Street without prejudice.
Motion to close.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
And then issue a denial order of conditions for lack of information.
Yep. And then they can always refile and start the process again.
Mhm.
So we need a motion and a vote.
I will entertain a motion to issue denial for lack of information.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right. Now I think we have a bunch of administrative letters and compliance requests.
So MassDOT has sent us a letter requesting us to extend their order of conditions for their drainage approval that they received under 320 DEP Southeast 328-619. I recommend extending that permit for the amount of time that we originally granted them. And I just can't remember what that number is, but give them another extension to what we approved the last time.
All right, any questions?
No.
All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to issue an extension for MassDOT.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. We have a request for a statement of compliance for 45 South Elm Street.
Yeah, we have Terry McGovern that's joined us in the meeting this evening. Hopefully, are you there, Terry?
I'm here.
Can you bring up your as-built or do you need me to do it?
I don't have it, don't have it available.
All right, I'll bring it up. All yours, Terry.
Okay, basically, this is an as-built of a septic system repair that was approved a month ago at the previous hearing. And the system is in the exact, pretty much the exact location it was proposed. I believe the markers have been installed. I know Mr. Montesano was in to get the plaques. The surface in the lawn area has been hydroseeded and restored. Not sure, I think it's growing pretty good. The last picture I saw of it, it was starting to come up, so the site is stable. And they now have a fully Title V compliant septic system built according to the plan.
Okay, John, have you been out to check and make sure that the lawn's up?
Yes, I reviewed the documents that were submitted, the as-built and the requests, and went out and inspected it today. The PVC markers are in, and there is a green haze across the area that was disturbed and the green haze is coming from the hydro seeding that was done there, but is not sufficient to issue a certificate without a surety. So I'm recommending issuing a certificate of compliance, but requiring a $1,500 surety bond to assure us that the grass will grow, and if it doesn't, that we'll have some money to reseed it where it needs to be.
Okay, yeah, the season's getting late. I mean, warm weather's been with us, but how much longer we keep that, I don't know, so. Anybody have any other questions, comments?
No, no.
Can I tell the homeowner to go out and manually seed it? Because I don't know how that surety is going to affect his closing. I've never seen something like that done before. You know, maybe with the system itself, but for the grass growing, I haven't seen that held back, and I don't know if it's going to affect his closing. And it's just because I haven't worked with you folks over in West Bridgewater before, so maybe you have seen this.
So I've already talked with the owner and told him he could come in and pick up the certificate of compliance, because I guess their closing is this week.
Okay.
And so in order for him, he's going to get a full certificate of compliance. And as long as he gives us a check for $1,500. So he's already aware of that, and he'll get that back. And I've offered to go out there over the next couple of weeks and check on it. And as soon as I see that it's growing satisfactorily, I will recommend to the commission at the very next meeting to vote to release it, and then we'll cut a check and send it back to him.
Okay. As long as he's aware, that's all I didn't know, because I haven't spoken to him. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
No.
Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance with a surety for 45 South Elm Street.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you very much. Next, we have 95
you.
South Street. Request for certificate.
Okay, I'll bring that one up as well. Okay, and Mark Camo is still with us, sitting in on the meeting. So Mark, you can go ahead and do a presentation on this.
Hi, hello again. I just wanted to request a certificate of compliance for 95 South Street. I've completed the work to pretty much the plan specifications and maintained all the grading and whatnot, and I've maintained the siltation fencing throughout the entire process, and heavily seeded the property over the last month. So I've got very good vegetation growth over there right now, and everything's very well stabilized. And we do have our conservation signs up, our PVC signs from the conservation office, and that's where I'm at.
Should those be on this plan, John?
Yes, they should be, and I've asked the engineer to provide us an updated copy. So what I was going to recommend, because I believe they have a closing that's coming up on this, is that, Mark, when is your closing?
It's supposed to be Friday.
All right, so what I was going to recommend, and I've already mentioned it to the engineer, that the markers should have been shown on the as-built, is hold the certificate in the office until the as-built comes in with the markers shown. And if that's first thing on Friday morning that we get that plan, then so be it. But that's what I'd recommend, because I saw markers out there, but they aren't on the plan, so I can't tell whether they're in the right place or not.
Will that affect the closing, as long as it's done by Friday morning, right?
Yeah, yes, I should be able to make it.
Good, good. All right.
And I mean, John, a digital plan would work so you could verify it, and then the hard copy could come at a later point, as long as we had at least a digital one in-house.
Sure, if they can send it to me digitally, then that works out too.
All right. Anybody have any other comments, questions?
No.
All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 95 South Street, pending revised plans with the markers on it.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moved and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Probably have to let us know, John, so we can sign that for you too.
Yes, my plan is to have all of the paperwork done tomorrow morning. And if any of you can come by, oh boy, Tim, you're coming by later, earlier. Okay.
No, I can come by, but you guys, if it's there for tomorrow night, I can come by in the afternoon. Otherwise, it'll be early in the morning.
All right. My thought is to have the forms prepared so that you can sign them tomorrow morning, Tim, on your way into work. And then if the other two or probably Ryan is not able to get over, but if Steve and Mo can get over tomorrow morning, then they can have their forms, because I do believe a couple of the people, including the one on South Elm Street, really need them right away, just like Mark does. So that's what I'll do. I'll have it there after the meeting. I'll get over to the office and get it printed out so that you can sign it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
John, if you need me to, I can come by and swing by in the afternoon.
I think there's one individual's picking it up right after lunch, and that was for 45 South Elm Street. And he's got a closing. His closing's already happened, but he's got to get that paperwork to the attorney so that they can release it. So thanks, Ryan, but we need it like by noontime, I think. So
that's noon tomorrow, John?
Yes,
okay.
If you guys can.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, thank you. And I'll make sure it's there, Tim, so that your early morning signing could occur.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're all set with that one. Now I think we have BC Way roadway.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing.
And I think Robert Emmett asked, I assume that's who this is for. When he'd be up, and I think that answers his question. He's up now.
Yep, he's up now. Let me call up the plan. All right, Robert, you're on. I've got the plan up and you can explain what you need. Is he muted?
Yeah, John, he's still muted.
Robert, can you hear us? All right. I'll make the presentation. So,
Hello?
Robert,
Hello?
are you there?
Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Good evening. I'm looking for a certificate of compliance on BC Way. I recently sold my property, and the developer finished my phone's breaking up a little, sorry.
All right. So I'll try to take over.
Yeah.
So Robert and his wife purchased this lot number 3, which is 2 BC Way. And they didn't require a filing because all of the work that they were proposing for the house was outside the 100-foot buffer. So lot number 4 and 5, these 2 down here, did require a filing. And also when the road was built, the drainage in the road required a filing, and the developer never requested the certificate. So Robert's buyer's attorney discovered that there's a still outstanding order of conditions, 2 of them, for the construction of BC Way. The developer, Dennis Welch, has not completed the road to the planning board specification, which is primarily cosmetic and sidewalk type issues. But I have a as-built of the drainage that was put in, and I've gone through it and compared it to the original design plan and found that they're all very close to what they needed to be. And where they aren't, it's so minor that it's not going to affect the drainage at all. So he's being held up, and he's paid the fees to request the certificate, which will benefit the other 2 lots, lot 4 and 5. He didn't even need one except for the order of conditions for the subdivision are on the land from which his lot was divided out. And so technically it is going to hold up his closing if it's not issued. So we can't expect Mr. Welch to come forward and give us the request because he's well aware of this and has refused to and come up with reasons why he's not doing it. And so Mr. Mooney has taken upon himself to pay the fees, and luckily we had an as-built, or otherwise he would have been preparing an as-built in order to sell his house, which I didn't think was very fair, but talking with the attorney, there was no convincing otherwise. So I think Mr. Mooney has gone over and above what he really needed to do and has been forced to do this. And I'm recommending issuing a certificate of compliance for the roadway and drainage. And there's actually 2 of them. One was the older number 328445 was never built. It was approved by the commission, filed at the registry, and never built. And that was done in 2005. And in 2014, Dennis Welch comes in with another filing because the other one had expired, and then built it according to the plan. So we have to issue a certificate for both of them, one showing that the work was never done, and the second one, that it was in compliance. So that's my recommendation.
Okay, and other than the planning board issues, John, it's all seeded, it's all in, the drainage system's working as it planned.
Yes. So I haven't talked with the planning board, but all of the drainage easements and the drainage structures are in compliance with what we approved. And I believe that the issues that the planning board has with Mr. Welch is the sidewalks weren't constructed to the planning board standard. And I'll bring in focus a little bit more what I believe to be another issue. And again, it's unrelated to us, but there's a double catch basin here that is collecting almost all of the water for the subdivision. And what happens is it overflows and gets into the front yard of number 3. And so what they did is they constructed a yard drain and tied it into the double catch basin so that any of the ponding gets into the catch basin from that yard. My recommendation is that if you do issue a certificate for the roadway, that we write a letter to the planning board saying that the town should get an easement for that yard drain from the owner of number 3. And I've asked Mr. Mooney to have the owner of number 3 get in contact with me so that we can start discussion about it and maybe help the matter along, because it seems there's a stalemate between the planning board and Dennis Welch.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, hopefully the planning board has enough of their surety deposits that they require set aside to fix this problem. I know we're having to look at ours as we do this with more developers, but it's a shame that it's gotten stuck like this again.
Robert, are you still able to hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Did you happen to mention to me the amount of money the planning board, Mr. Welch claims the planning board is holding?
I think it's 40K.
46,000?
Yes.
If it were me and somebody had 46,000 of my dollars, I'd probably want to get this thing straightened out, but who knows?
Wow. Considering what the as-bilt's already done, I mean, that's pretty amazing to leave that money sitting out there and wow. All right. I have no other questions. I feel sorry that he's had to go this route to be able to sell his house, but thank you for getting it done. I mean, it needs to get cleared. So anybody has no other comments, I will entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for both DEP filings 328445 to close the one that was never built, and for 328656 for the one that was built and we have an as-built.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Issues moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. All done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry for my phone difficulties.
That's okay. Thank you for attending. All right.
Have a good night, gentlemen.
John, anything else?
Yes, I do have some informal things. I was approached by the developer of 265 East Center Street. This is the contractor's building that's across from the country club. He has asked that would the commission be interested in him donating all of his land that he can't develop. And if you would like, I'll pull up the plot plan and show you what he's talking about. Is that something you'd like me to do?
Not of much use to us, is it?
Right, I mean, it's not really connected to a trail system. It's pretty much, if I remember the plan right, it's all wetlands and cannot be touched anyways.
Right.
It really has no value to us to take it from him. I mean,
Not
So you
really.
don't need to look at the plan then.
no, I don't think we're interested in
So,
having him.
so this is, I probably shouldn't make these comments, but I'm going to. The developer that owned that lot is not the person who's now asking for us to do this. I guess the person who's asking it is buying it from the original developer. They squeeze 5 pounds of crap in a 1 pound bag, leaving very little room around the building to which they can do anything with. And then people want us to give them a break or take the land in as a donation. And I think we, not necessarily we, but the zoning and everything that allows a lot to be built upon by doing this really does a disservice to the next person, not the developer, but the person who then owns it. So I understand why the person has asked it, but it just bothers me that, maybe we should get into a situation where we just turn things down and let it go to court. But unfortunately, then oftentimes the court rules differently, and we spent a lot of money for nothing. So I'll get off my soapbox, but I don't recommend either that the commission, and I just said I would ask, and it sounds like we have your answer. So the informal is no. It's just, again, no vote. I just need to have general feeling, and I can see that it's not something that everybody's jumping up and down saying yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Next one is, I have to bring it up because it is a situation where I'd like to get some direction from the commission. So I'll call up the plan. All right, this is 342 South Main Street, next to what was Lucini Ford years ago. Lucini Ford being over on the right side of the plan. There's a large wetland on this property, so basically everything that's the woods and not part of the lawn is wetlands. And this was a enforcement order from years ago where somebody had done some work in this area without a permit, and they resolved it with the commission. So everything's been literally smoothed over, and no pun intended. But it's up for sale, and the owners, the buyers, the potential buyers of this property want to put in a pool in their backyard and do some things. And it doesn't show on this, but the 50-foot buffer roughly leaves them about an area, if you can see my cursor, leaves them about an area within this little arc that I'm showing from the back of the house and the garage. And that's all they can do without infringing on the 50-foot buffer, even though it's all previously disturbed in grass. So their request was find if the commission generally would allow them to get some type of waiver to be able to put this pool is no longer there. and this deck is no longer there, just this one and the house. So they would like to be able to put in a pool of some sort and a play set for their kids. And I've explained that there's not much room outside the 50-foot buffer to do so. And they need to know that, or otherwise they may not want to buy the property. They love the house, but if they can't do things in their backyard, they're not, other than mowing it, they're not probably willing to buy it. So I just needed to get some feeling from the commission.
So John, pretty much from where the Hayville line is, it's all mowed grass area now?
Yeah, it's all mowed.
I mean, putting in a kid's play area or a swing set or something like that, I don't see as really a change of use necessarily. Putting an in-ground pool in, that would definitely be a filing, and we'd have to figure out what it does to the water table and to the wetlands and how that drainage is all dealt with. An above ground pool, I don't know. I mean, again, it's all previously disturbed already. If they're not altering the elevation or changing anything on it.
So an above ground pool might be in a place that probably could be, but no in-ground pool.
And there isn't a lot of room either based on your arc that you drew.
Right, I mean, they'd have to figure out the engineering and there'd have to be a filing.
Yeah.
I mean, for an in-ground pool, if they really were set on an in-ground pool. I mean, that being said, I don't know whether it would be worth putting an in-ground pool in with that narrow of a footprint to really work with. I mean, to me, an in-ground pool is like putting a septic system in that area just as well.
Right.
I mean, you're gonna.
Right. I think the only option for them is above ground, but what about the footprint there where the old pool was? I mean, I would, it's theoretical, but they could put one in there again.
Okay, I think I've got a sense, and I think I can get back to the real estate people and let them know.
All right.
Okay.
All right. And I'll bring up the last item. That's we received a letter from an attorney representing the estate of Mr. Wilbur from Easton, who owns a former hayfield off of Turnpike Street, but his land extended over into West Bridgewater and is near United Drive. So I'm going to call up the plans and let you see what they look like. All right, so Mr. Wilbur passed away, I think 2 years ago now, and he owned all of, if you can see my cursor, he owned all of this land here off of Turnpike Street in Easton. And so we received a notice that they want to take this parcel up here and this parcel here out of 61A tax status. And they have a purchase and sales agreement to sell that land and the person to buy it. And we have the first right of refusal since it was in 61A. Here's United Drive, of course, and some of the big buildings that were out there. Some of these buildings were involved with clothing apparel, Boston Apparel. This one's currently being used for some light manufacturing. There's parking lots all around them. And this parcel here is currently overflow parking, I believe, for one of these buildings. So the subject properties are this one here and this one here. I don't see that it connects to any of our trail systems. There are wetlands on the property, and I will bring up another plot to show you what they're planning to do. So here's United Drive. North is up the sheet. This is the parcel that is the bigger of the two, and it's the more southern one. And they want to put a proposed warehouse comprising of 204,000 square feet with parking and loading docks all around it. They've apparently had the wetlands flagged, and that's in the pea green color that you see. And the 100-foot buffer is the red, and the blue and greenish blue is the 50-foot buffer, as much as I could scale off the plan. Basically what I did is I just took half of the distance here and drew in a line. So they've got a couple of issues here with the 50-foot buffer. And this is an isolated wetland, but if we were to hold a 50-foot buffer, it obviously impacts some of their parking in this area here. And perhaps that's why they put this little curve in the parking, but that's just a proposal. They have to show what they are proposing to do, and they would have to file with us, and they might have to modify their plan somewhat in order to comply with everything that we want, because they've got to not only put what they want in here, but they've got to handle stormwater, and they can't go within 50 feet of the wetland with their stormwater basin. So they've got some issues that they'll have to deal with, and that's up to them to do, but that's their plan. We don't have anything in that area that, other than the fact that there's wetlands that need to be protected, we don't have anything that would connect it with any of our trail systems or anything. So I'm not inclined to recommend that we ask the town to buy it instead.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right. It wasn't on the agenda, so I don't really believe that we should take a vote on it, but we can put it on the next agenda and actually take a vote on it. So I'll do that. I was going to look for a consensus, but I think we need to have an actual vote that would make the Board of Selectmen feel better. So I'll put it on the next agenda, but just be aware that that's what it's all about, because you might hear a little bit about it from the Board of Selectmen if they have it at their meeting and that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we're just not going to exercise our right to purchase. So if we wait till 2 weeks and take a vote, it's not going to affect really a sale or something on their end moving forward. So
we have time to get back to the selectmen, but I thought I would put it on for tonight. So
yep.
And the more I think about it, I wouldn't want to just go on a consensus. I think we need to have a vote. So we'll put it on the agenda where it can be done legally as a vote. And that's it.
Anybody else have anything else?
No,
Mark is still with us. Mark, do you want to ask any questions or anything? I'll unmute you.
I'm sorry, John. I didn't know if I could sign off or not. That's what, but it was
Oh.
interesting. It was interesting staying on board and seeing some of these other things that come up.
Well,
Yeah, you're always welcome.
and since you stayed so
Yeah.
long, we're making you an alternate member.
All right, I have nothing else then. I will, I'll say we're adjourned. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
So moved. And John, that way there you have time to get paperwork to the town hall so I can sign it early in the morning and
Yeah.
not interrupt too much of your night.